What's going on, guys? It's Ruin here, and last weekend, actually it's been over a week already, I made this desk and I call it the prototype. So instead of your usual DIY builds, I thought I'd do something a little bit different, and I go through my design process, a little bit of the techniques that I use building it, and the things that I learned and things that I want to change after using this desk for over a week already. Let's hop right in on the legs. To be honest, this design is arbitrary. I could have gotten away with simple 4 straight legs, but instead I decided to taper them. Why? Just for looks, and also I was going for a letter K design influence in a way. If you look at it aside, it sort of looks like half a K, beginning of my name, so I was going for that look. I tried to refrain from a lot of hardware when I'm doing my builds. So for these legs, I attached them using half lap joints, but I did use screws because I want them to be sturdy enough that they'll be able to hold significant amount of weight. In hindsight, I think I could have gotten away with 2x2s, to be honest. These things are stocky as hell, really sturdy. In my next build, I'll probably get them a little slimmer, give that extra taper, kind of like Chris Salomon style. But yeah, they're very sturdy. I attached them using 2 screws on the side and covered them up with dowels, so you won't notice them at all. As for the skirts, bracers, whatever you want to call them, I used 2 2x4s here with a shorter one cross lap in the middle. Once again, in hindsight, I could have gotten away with 2x2s here, cut them in the middle, cut down on the weight. They're still very sturdy. But for these, I didn't attach them with glue. I simply used pocket hole screws to attach them to the legs. Why? Because in my reasoning, I thought in the future, since this is just a prototype, I could easily replace them, move them, because I just use pocket hole screws. In the future, their very first permanent build, I guess you could say, then I'll be using glue on that one. But for these, yeah, I just attach them using pocket holes. And right now we're coming up on one of my design choices. As you can tell, one of these bracers, or the bottom ones, instead of just your regular horizontal brace, I turned them into a footrest slash where I would put my PC. I really don't like it when I've seen some desks where they put their tower on top. It just takes up space. I mean, sure, it's nice to look at, but you have this RGB blasting on your face. I know, blasphemy. Yeah, it's blasting on your face and it just takes up real estate. So I opted for something more practical. I put a footrest or a place where you can put your PC down below. I tried to be practical and cut costs as much as I can when doing this prototype. Hence, I was using lumber. I was using 2x4s. But the funny thing is, when I was buying these materials, the price of wood actually shot up 2 or 3 times. 2x4s usually cost around $2 in Home Depot. When I was picking these up, they were actually closer to $6. So I'm like, what the heck? COVID, am I right? With being budget friendly in mind, scratch that, environmental friendly in mind, I opted to reuse some of the materials for my tabletop. Luckily enough, I ran across a scrap cabinets, and it still had these dividers in them that are quite thick. I think they're 3/4. So I took them and reused them, and that's what mostly my tabletop is made of, with some 2x4s on the side for the edges, for the edge banding. And so once again, we're gonna run into one of my design choices for this desk: the gaming cutouts, gaming shapes, gaming cutouts. I don't know what to exactly call them, but they have good reasoning. Cable management. Look, no one wants to do cable management. It's really annoying. Everyone wants to do it once and then forget it. You know, set it and forget it. So why not plan ahead? And that's exactly what I did. For these desks, for this desk in particular, I mean, I have 3 cutouts. One in the back. It's mostly for feeding your cables for your monitor, for your console, whatever it is, the major ones that you don't move most of the time. They're mostly permanent back there. The secondary cutouts are on each side. They're actually pretty shallow. I'm thinking of changing that in the future, but I have them on the side because they're for more temporary uses. For example, you want to charge your phone. You don't usually feed your charger on the way back. You know, you just put them on the side. And sometimes a lot of us, our desks are usually in one corner. You know, it's not in an office where it's in the middle of the room. You know. So for these desks, I have cutouts on the side where you can feed your charger cables or maybe your headphone cables. So they have that space in the side for the cutouts, and they won't get crushed if you have it on the side of a wall of your table. In the future though, I think I might make them a little deeper. That way, if you want to use clip-ons, for example, for a lamp, if you're streaming, if you have a clip-on lamp, clip-on light, or maybe even for your mic, making them a little deeper would really be helpful. In my original design, I was supposed to put a cubby in the back of the desk. This is directly underneath the cutout. This is where I'd put the remaining cables, wires, maybe a power strip or 2, you know, for cable management. But as I went further through the build, I wasn't really enjoying the bulkiness of it. So I opted for something else. Instead, I grabbed a couple of scrap wood and I made these handles, these wire handles. I don't want to call them, but I attach them in the back, and the purpose of this is I feed the wires from the back of the table through the cutout, and then I can loop it and wrap around these things, and then it's not as useful as a cubby dedicated for wires, I guess, but it's close enough. I'm thinking in the future build, if I could cut down the bulkiness of it all, I'd definitely do that in addition to this. Because after building this, I really enjoyed having this in the back of my desk. You know, those extra wire loops. Instead of finding Velcro wraps for these individual wires, I just wrap them in the back. Built-in cable management. Good design, right? Good design. And now, after using this for a week, I do have some critiques for it. Some of them I already mentioned. One of them, the cutouts on the side, I definitely make them deeper just for the purpose of having clip-on mics, lamps, and even just better accommodate wires on the side. The back, if I could slim this next build down, I definitely put a cubby in addition to these cable management handles that I've made. And probably the last one that surprised me the most is on the edge here where you meet on table. I didn't realize how annoying that would be, even though I chamfered it a little bit. It gets annoying on my forearms after a while, after gaming for long sessions. I think in the future I will round this out. Instead of just chamfering it, I will round it out so it'll be a much better user experience. And that's it. I think that about sums it up for this gaming desk prototype that I made. I do have a lot of points and critiques that I want to improve upon and use on my next build. Oh, and for fun, I thought I'd make a miniature model of this desk specifically as a monitor stand. It's just a little thing. Thanks for watching, guys, and Ruin out.